So many of you have already heard our sad news in our family, and I can't start this video out like I usually would on a happy, upbeat note because it's not a happy, upbeat video, and it's probably the hardest video I've made ever or will ever make. And it's difficult because we have so much happening in our life right now that's exciting, but then the loss of Albert is so devastating, and grief just affects everything you do and everything you feel. And I want to start this video off by giving you a couple of apologies. The first is that this is not where we usually film, and I don't know what the quality of this is going to be like, what this audio will sound like, and you might hear Linus and Cornelius running around in the background because this is not our house. We, have exciting changes coming, and there's going to be a life updates video, so I just want to apologize for the quality of this if it's not usually what you get on this channel. And the second thing I want to apologize for is that I didn't share Albert's passing with you sooner. He passed in mid-October, and it was just so hard for us to process and everything, and you saw content coming out, and I had pre-recorded a lot of stuff and scheduled it for release, so I just kind of left it where it was, and it's been difficult for us, so I want to apologize that I'm just now sharing this with you, and I want to thank you all for the kind responses so many of you shared with us on the community post I made, because it really meant a lot to us, and it was hard to see people commenting on videos, past videos that Albert had been featured in, and I had shared him in, and to see all of the responses from you really meant a lot to us. And my husband and I are just, it's been incredibly difficult for us. Even now, I'm tearing up, and it's 2 weeks later because Albert just meant the world to us, and he really was such a massive part of our family and this channel, and I'm so incredibly grateful that I got the opportunity to share him and document him on these videos that I shared with you, and you all got to see him, because it means that I have that to look back on. And my husband and I we love to see him, and we love to think about him, and we talk about him all the time, and it's just made it so much more difficult, that he's gone now, and we have all of these things happening in our life. And I really appreciate everybody that said something. And throughout this entire process, there have been a lot of people that have helped us through this too. And, I just want to thank everybody. Our veterinarians have been so kind and helpful and talking us through what they think happened to him. And, he was such a strong little dog, and he had so much stamina and charisma, and he just was so special to us. And I know it's kind of like, oh, you're talking about your dog and you're so upset over it when there are bigger things happening in the world. But the thing about Albert was he was so inspirational, and he taught me so much about being a human and what you're capable of doing that no human has ever taught me or showed me like he has before. And that, I think, is Albert's real power, and what all of you saw in him also, that, he was almost completely deaf, and he had no eyes, he had no teeth, no defenses, but he still was such a lively little thing, and he never let that get him down. And no matter what Albert was confronted with, he overcame everything, and nothing ever got him down. So many times you'd see him and say, like, oh, if Albert was mine, I wouldn't be able to get work done. I'd have to hold him and cuddle him all day. And Albert was an explorer and an adventurer. He didn't want to be held all day. He wanted to be on the floor, walking around, searching and hunting and looking and, finding paths. And he was always on the go, and he never let anything stop him or slow him down. He just genuinely had such a passion for life and being a part of this family, and it was so beautiful. And it really taught me that no matter what happens in your life, no matter what situation you're in or what is happening at the time in the world or going on or affecting you, you can overcome that and you can get through that. And Albert never let anything stop him. And I never really went into the whole story of how he came to be in our life. And I want to share that with you so you really get an understanding of what this little guy went through and what he overcame, because it's really astonishing. We adopted him when he was 14, and he was basically gave the best years of his life to another family and was dumped at a pound. And he, had no teeth. He his eyes had glaucoma that was so bad and left to get so bad that he was completely blind and his retinas were detaching. It was extremely painful for him. He was almost completely deaf, and at that point we didn't really think he ever got any sort of medical care because he hadn't even been neutered. And he was rescued by the facility we got him through, from the organization that we adopted him through. They went and got him and rescued him, and I have the paperwork that even says he was being considered for euthanization. And it's devastating to think that that could have happened to him when he had so much life left and so much love to give. But they got him and got him the eye removal surgery he needed. And when we found him, my husband was looking online at dogs and thinking, oh, you know, we'd love a little dog that would cuddle with us, because our bulldogs are not the cuddling sort. They're the more rambunctious, jumping around sort. Cue Linus walking over here, clicking all over the floor. And we saw his photo, and he just looked like his little head was down, and he just looked like he needed help. He looked like he needed a family to take care of him. And we knew that him being blind, it didn't matter, because he needed a good home, and we had one that we could give him. And even if he never was affectionate or wanted to be, you know, cuddled or held, we were willing to do what it took to give this dog a second chance at life, and to, you know, bring him in and be the family he needed, whether he wanted, you know, to be a big part of it or not. And when we got him, the organization, they brought him out to meet with us at a pet store, and we were holding him and chatting with them, and people would walk by and be like, he's so cute, and see that he had no eyes and be like, oh, well, you know, it was nice to see him, have a nice day, and walk away, and, you know, just kind of reject him like that. And it just broke my husband and I inside, because he just was such a sweet dog, and he just wanted to be held, and he loved to be outside and in the breeze and in the sunlight, and we knew that he was a part of our family. So the organization we got him from, you know, really helped us out, and they were like, hey, bring your dogs to meet him, and then you can take him home. And so we did, and Linus and Cornelius got on with him well, and he just adored them. He loved them so much. And it really has been so special for us to have him in our lives, and have Linus and Cornelius adopt him the way they did. They really looked after him and cared for him, and they would go check on him and, you know, make sure he was taken care of, and, you know, would let us know if something wasn't right, or, you know, if he was doing something, you know, they would come and find us. And it really was meaningful to us, because they were almost like his eyes in a way, and they looked after him, because this dog had no defenses, and, you know, he could have withdrawn in on himself and given up on life, but he never did. And he always, always, always was on the move and wanted to explore an adventure. When we moved into the house you used to see us filming in all the time, he would just walk around and be all over the place. He really just accepted that was his new home and adapted to it, because he just was excited because he got to explore a new place, and it was always really amazing. And we just made sure our house was safe for him, and then let him have his way, and he would just walk around and explore and hunt and search for hours. You know, if we weren't home, we'd be sitting there saying, what do you think Albert's doing? Is he napping? Is he walking around? And you'd hear him, you know, bump into stuff all the time around the house, and we'd say like, oh, Albert's up and moving, he's on the move. He was just such a special little guy, and I really am so grateful that I got to share him with all of you, and that you all saw how special he truly was. And, you know, we would have people comment and say, Albert really brightened up your day, or you were having a bad time and you watched our video and saw him, and he brought so much joy to you. Or, gosh, I remember one comment from someone who said her son would hear me in a video say Albert and come running because he wanted to see Albert. He was just such a special little dog, and he never gave up, and truly, truly redefined for me what life was, and what you're capable of achieving and doing. And, you know, with everything going on in the world, no matter what's happening, people can overcome that, and your circumstances don't have to define you and what you're capable of doing. And, you know, I want to share a little bit about what happened with him, because I know there are questions out there, and you know, people will wonder what happened. And I never really shared his entire medical history with you because I didn't think it was necessary. But he did have a heart murmur, and he also had kidney disease at the end, and it was a kind of a combination of both of those that we think took him. And you know, it was always my greatest wish for him that when his time came, he would be at home and he would know that he was loved and surrounded by our family and where he knew he was safe. And that wish was granted for me, and I'm incredibly grateful for that. He passed in his sleep at night, and I found him in the morning, and it was a difficult day for us, to say the least. But to know that he was there and he was at home and he went in his sleep was really meaningful for me. And we talked with our veterinarian about it, who was incredibly helpful. And he basically said that he felt it was a very peaceful way to go. He didn't feel like anything traumatic happened to him, that he just drifted off. And we don't officially know what happened, but we have an idea, and we're at peace with it, even though it still hurts to talk about it, 2 weeks on, because he truly meant that much to us and to all of you. And it's been even hard to say something about him to you, because it's almost like it's real now. It's official. He's actually gone. It's just been like we're in a daze where we're in this different house and we have all these things happening that have been distracting us, but to actually put it on camera and film it, it means that it's real and it's official, and like there's no going back from it, even though there wasn't anything that could have, even though there was no going back from it. And I know he did so much for the channel, and so many of you have said, like, you love my content, but you hit that subscribe button because of Albert, and it really has touched us and meant so much to us. And I really appreciate you being here and, taking the time to watch this video and all of the videos that we're going to have coming out. There's a lot of exciting stuff. Even though Albert's not going to be in those videos, I appreciate that you'll watch them, but it's just been hard, and it's been something that we're trying to deal with. And grief it hits you like a wave sometimes. Like there are days when it's like I'm like, okay, like we're coming through this, and then it's days like today where I sit in front of the camera and I'm not expecting to be this upset, but I am. And I really, really appreciate all of you. And I know so many of you have had a loss of a pet in your life that has really meant so much to you. And Albert reminded you of them. And, you've shared that with me. And it's really been helpful for me. And my husband has really appreciated it. And, he's seen all of your comments too. And it just really means a lot to us that you take the time and you've shared with us and have appreciated him the way we have, and that he's been an inspiration to you the same way he was to us. I really hope that you have enjoyed seeing some of these photos of him and getting to know him a little bit more, even though he's not here anymore, and listening to me talk about him, being here supporting us on this channel and sharing your thoughts and messages with us. And I genuinely appreciate that so much. And I know there is so much happening in the world right now that is so painful to see and hear and going on. And, one more piece of sad news doesn't help, but at the same time, Albert never let anything stop him or slow him down. He never let anything stop him from having love in his life and accepting what was going on and overcoming it. And everybody can too. And I want to thank you for sitting here with me through this video. And I want to wish you a great day. And I just want to let you know that there's more great content coming soon, and I'll see you there.